America has become completely unaffordable, and I don't know why more people are not talking about this. Half of America doesn't even have a savings, rent is insane, healthcare is a luxury, and somehow the narrative is still people are just bad with money. Like, what money? People are working full-time. Most people have 2 to 3 jobs anymore because you have to. At what point do we stop blaming the people and just accept the fact that the cost of living has simply just outpaced reality? Because everything is this expensive, you have to know exactly where all of your money is going anymore. Like, a budget is just simply a necessity. You have to have one. Started using a budgeting app like mine to figure out where all of my money is going, but it does not make up for the fact that America is too expensive to live in anymore. If you're struggling, you are not alone.
People are charging $1,000 a month to rent rooms in their home. $1,000 a month to rent a room. Bro, what the fuck we gonna do? The cost of living has gotten out of hand, and y'all buy a house, man. Everybody that I know that owns a house tells me don't buy no fucking house. They hate that shit. Between property taxes going the fuck up, insurance going the fuck up, niggas having to fix roofs. Is that what it is? Having to fix their roof and shit. Everybody I know that got a goddamn house tell me don't buy no goddamn house. They say at least you call a maintenance man. But dead ass, what the fuck we gonna do about the rising cost of living? Because what you mean you charging people $1,000? You got 3 rooms in your house, you're charging them $1,000 for somebody to come live there. This shit is sad. Like, my son gonna be an adult in the next couple of years. He's gonna graduate from high school and be an adult. And this is the world he has to live in? The fuck? I guess I need... shit is weird.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Christine and thank you so much for tuning in. It's not just about inflation or the rising cost of living. It's about how different communities respond during difficult economic times, and why those responses are being interpreted in very different ways. Over the past few years, almost everyone has felt the pressure of higher prices. Rent has increased in many places. Groceries cost more than they used to. Utility bills have gone up. Insurance, transportation, and everyday necessities continue to stretch household budgets. Whether you are rich or poor, these changes affect daily life. White people are complaining that Black Americans are not responding the way others expected. Instead of organizing large public campaigns or spending their energy debating every economic issue, many have said they are focusing on taking care of their own households, building financial stability, supporting local businesses, and protecting their own peace. For some people, watching from the outside, that silence has been surprising. They expected louder protests, more public outrage, or broader political engagements. Instead, many individuals have chosen to concentrate on their families, their neighborhood, and their personal finances. Part of this conversation also comes from history. Many people point out that communities that have experienced repeated economic hardships often develop different ways of coping. Some become more vocal, others become more cautious. Some decide that instead of waiting for change from outside, they'll focus on what they can control within their own homes and communities. That's why this discussion has become so interesting. It raises questions about priorities. Is it more effective to spend time arguing online, or to spend that same time building savings, learning new skills, supporting local entrepreneurs, or investing in your children? Different people will answer that question differently. At the same time, rising prices are creating anxiety across the country. Families are making difficult decisions about food, housing, healthcare, and transportation. Young adults worry about buying their first home. Parents worry about providing for their children. Retirees worry about fixed income keeping up with this inflation. These concerns aren't limited to one race or one political group. They are shared by millions of people. Perhaps the biggest lesson is that people respond to hardship differently. Some become louder, others become quiet. Neither response automatically means someone cares more or less. Sometimes silence isn't a sign of giving up. sometimes is a sign that people have shifted their focus toward practical solutions. With that being said, let's dive into today's commentaries.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment. You wake up already behind, you go to work just to stay broke, and you watch the cost of everything rise while your paycheck doesn't move an inch. Groceries are a luxury, rent is robbery, healthcare is a joke, and somehow we're the ones blamed for not budgeting better. People are working 2-3 jobs and still choosing between food or gas. Families are crammed into apartments because buying a house became a fantasy. You can't afford to get sick. You can't afford to rest. You can't afford to exist. But they keep telling us the economy's strong. Strong for who? Because it sure as hell isn't the people doing the work. We're out here treading water while billionaires build rockets, politicians trade stocks, and corporations raise prices just because they can. We were promised opportunity. We got survival. And what makes this worse is watching people blame themselves. Like somehow you failed because you can't afford a 1-bedroom anymore. Like you didn't do enough when the truth is the math just stopped adding up years ago. They told us to work harder, but never told us they'd change the finish line. This isn't a country full of lazy people. It's a country full of exhausted ones. Simple as that.
Hi, I am a resident of California. I'm 61 years old, and I just wanted to share my shock because I just got in from the mailbox and opened up my Anthem bill summary for my healthcare premium. Evidently, my subsidies have expired for the month of December, and so my bill jumped from $314.40 to $864.60 for December. And then I also got my estimated bill for what it will be for 2026, $1,296 a month. I can't pay that. I'm not eligible for Medicare yet because I'm still 61. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I think I may have to cancel my insurance and just go without and take the risk until I can be eligible for Medicare. I'm eligible for Medicare mid-year next year, but I can't afford almost $1,300 for my healthcare premium. Plus, that's just major medical. That's a very high deductible. It's no copay. It's so ridiculous. I don't understand how the average American's supposed to make it. It's just, I'm on a limited income. I cannot afford this. So just curious if anyone else is having the same issues that I'm having. Let me know.
I need to have a vent session for a second about the state of affairs in this country. So I have 2 adult children. One is 18 going on 19 and the other one is 21. My 18-year-old is working currently as an HVAC apprentice and working on getting certified, but he's making $16 an hour, which I live in a small to mid-sized Missouri town, so that's pretty typical around here. Wages are, low compared to a lot of places, but so is the cost of living. But he would also not like to be living at home with mom forever. He's more of an independent, autonomous person, so apartment living is not for him at all. He wants a place where he can have his truck and his dirt bikes and be able to work on motors and have the freedom to do what he wants with the place and also be able to have all of his stuff. And at this point, honestly, renting a house would cost more than a mortgage payment anyway, but he's been looking for houses and just trying to figure out what he can afford and what he can do. And he found this place that was only $125,000, which is dirt cheap around here. That just doesn't exist anymore, but it had no basement. It was on a slab foundation, I think, and probably needed some work, which he is naturally talented at that stuff. He works in HVAC. He's very mechanically inclined. He can do this stuff. So he's not afraid of a fixer-upper. Found out that the main reason it was priced so cheap is because it was in a flood zone. So it was a no anyway. But keep in mind, $125,000 house in this economy. And when we looked up to see if he did a 5% down payment on this thing with, your insurance and PMI and taxes and everything, his payment would still be $1,100 a month for a cheap piece of crap house. And just the look of absolute dread on his face when he realized how completely unaffordable and unattainable it is for him to be able to buy a house and live on his own. Now, my oldest son just turned 21. He's been waiting to turn 21 because he wants to get into the cannabis industry. And it's just like the alcohol industry, where if you want to be a brewer or a bartender, you have to be 21 in order to do it. So this past week, Thursday, he interviewed for a job with a grower. And just a couple of days ago, he was offered the position and officially accepted it. And in that time, less than a week, we decided to start a war with Iran. And so when he interviewed for the job, gas prices were around $2.50 a gallon where I'm at, and now they are already at $3 a gallon and climbing. So just in the time between when he interviewed for this job and when he accepted this job, gas prices have gone up 50 cents a gallon, and they're not done climbing yet. And this is an issue because this job, there's a lot of dispensaries here in town where if he had, ended up there, he'd probably be a little bit better off. But this was the job opening that was available at the time for him to get into the industry. And it is a farm, which is 30 miles up the interstate from where we live. So now he is going to be driving one way to work 30 miles at a time when gas prices are going through the roof, because we decided it was a good idea to start a completely unwarranted, unjustified, and unnecessary war with Iran. And I'm now sitting here thinking about my own situation, where my own currently hourly wage is, and considering if I was their age, if I was just starting out. So thinking about buying the same house that I live in right now at its current value, at current interest rates, with the same % down payment that I paid for this house back in 2017. And I realized that my payment would be double what it currently is. And I, as a 40-year-old woman who has been working for 24 years of my life, could not afford this place on my own. Like at 40 years old, I would need a roommate in order to live in this very modest, like 1,300 square foot, 1968 ranch style home. Like it's not a fancy house by any stretch. It's what most people would consider to be essentially a starter home by today's standards. And I could not afford it on my own on my current wages. So my question is, how the hell are we expecting these young kids to do it? Like for someone to start out, even in my area, in like rural Missouri, they would have to make $30 an hour in order to be earning a living wage, in order to live on their own and support themselves without the help of a spouse or a roommate, just for a single person to live and make it on their own, to be able to afford a vehicle payment, vehicle insurance, a mortgage or rent payment, and all of the utilities and groceries and cell phone bills and stuff that go along with just living your life. That's no fun stuff. It's just to live. They would need to make $30 an hour. Meanwhile, we have a government that is more interested in starting wars and harassing other countries and harassing immigrants that are living in this country than they are with their own people, than they are with helping the working class in any way, shape, or form with any kind of meaningful legislation or reform. We have a do-nothing Congress that is sitting on their hands and doing absolutely nothing to help any of the working class people. I'm mad about it for myself, but I'm even more mad about it for my children. Something needs to change. Something's got to give. And frankly, at the midterms, like it would be great if the Democrats are able to take over, because at least they'll do something to stop the nonsense that is happening in the executive branch that is going on unchecked. But are they going to do anything to actually help the working class people? At the end of the day, even the Democrats are doing the absolute bare minimum to be able to claim that they are for the working class, because they, right along with the Republicans, are taking money from wealthy campaign donors, and any policy, any legislation that they pass ultimately is going to help them and not us. So where does this end? How far does this go before we, the people, cannot afford to live no matter what age we are?
Welcome back. As we come to the end of today's discussion, it's worth reflecting on what this conversation really tells us. Economic hardship as a way of revealing people's priorities. When times are comfortable, it's easier to spend time arguing over issues that may not directly affect your daily life. But when the cost of food, housing, fuel, and healthcare keeps rising, many families naturally shift their attention towards survival and stability. That's not unique to any one community. Throughout history, people facing financial pressure have often focused on protecting what they have, helping relatives, reducing unnecessary spending, and planning for the future. For Black Americans, that appears to be exactly what's happening. Rather than engaging in every public debate, many have chosen to emphasize financial independence, supporting business within their communities, educating their children, and improving their own economic position. Whether someone agrees with that approach or not, it's a strategy that many people believe deserves consideration. Another lesson from this conversation is the danger of interpreting silence too quickly. Silence can mean many things. It can mean frustration, it can mean exhaustion, It can mean people have lost confidence in political solutions, or it can simply mean they are busy working, raising families, paying bills, and trying to improve their lives. Sometimes the strongest statement people make isn't through words, it's through their actions. If someone spends less time arguing online and more time paying off debt, learning new skills, starting a business, or investing in education, that's a choice that reflects their priorities. Whether others notice or not, those decisions can have lasting effects on future generations. This conversation should also remind us that economic challenges are not a competition between racial groups. Inflation doesn't ask about race before increasing grocery prices. High rent affects families from every background. Rising healthcare costs impact people across the country. The real challenge is finding practical solutions that help ordinary people build more secure lives. Instead of asking why one community is quiet or louder than another, perhaps the better question is this: what strategies are actually helping families succeed despite difficult economic conditions? Are people budgeting more carefully? Are they supporting local businesses? Are they learning financial skills? Are they reducing unnecessary debts? Those conversations may not generate as many viral headlines, but they are far more useful. Most people, regardless of race, want many of the same things: stable jobs, affordable housing, good schools, safe neighborhoods, and opportunities for their children. Those shared goals are often forgotten when discussions become focused on conflicts instead of solutions. If there's one positive lesson to take away, it's that difficult times often encourage people to become more intentional with their time, money, and relationships. Whether someone chooses public activism, community organizing, or simply focusing on their own family, those choices should be understood in context rather than reduced to stereotypes. In the end, rising prices are a challenge for millions of people. The question isn't which group is reacting correctly. The more meaningful question is which responses are helping people build stronger, more resilient lives. Thank you for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think people are becoming more focused on their own households during these difficult economic times, or do you believe communities should be working together more openly? Don't forget to subscribe, share and like the video, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.